It is another morning where we have to come on the air and mourn the loss of a Kansas City area police officer. 6:05 on a Wednesday. Glad you're here on KCMO Talk Radio 95.7 FM. We sit here this morning and we mourn the loss of KCK police officer Hunter Simonchik. Hunter was 26 years old. He was from Galesburg, Kansas, down in Neosho County, and he lost his life 2 nights ago doing his job with the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. Hunter was a young man who had just recently graduated the academy in November of 2023. He was only on the job for less than 3 years. And he was a young man who was working at the Southeast Kansas Regional Juvenile Detention Center as a shift supervisor and dedicated his time to then the youth of Kansas City, Kansas. In his spare time, he volunteered with Lead to Read KC. He read to students every week at a local elementary school. And 2 nights ago, he was simply doing his job. He was out and about. He was patrolling Kansas City, Kansas, and he finds himself in a situation where a lunatic runs him over. That's what happened. He got out of his car. He was trying to stop somebody, and that individual ended up just running him over. And we knew at the end of the show yesterday it probably wasn't going to be good, because towards the end of the show yesterday, we said and told you that the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department was set to have a press conference at 10:30 yesterday morning. And that's when we found out from Carl Oakman, the Kansas City, Kansas Police Chief, who's going to be on this show at 8:05, 2 hours from now. Carl Oakman will be here on 95.7 FM. We found out that Hunter had passed away. And here's a choked up Kansas City, Kansas Police Chief Carl Oakman yesterday.
It is equally devastating when you have to look into the face of the family and tell them this. They are heartbroken, and you see it on their face.
And you can hear it there in Carl Oakman's voice. You know, Carl Oakman is a big man. Right, he's been in the studio many times. He's a tough guy. But a lot of these guys are also like big teddy bears. And when you've been doing this for as long as these guys have been doing it, it doesn't get any easier when you have a loss of one of your own officers. Because when you're at that leadership level, I've got to imagine, no matter what, even though Carl Oakman had nothing to do with what happened, there's nothing he could have done differently, you feel responsible. Good leaders do feel responsible, even when they had nothing to do with what happened. That's true in any industry, in any walk of life. Great leaders always take responsibility. And you could hear it there in the voice of Carl Oakman that whether it's warranted or not, and frankly it's not, he takes responsibility. He's got to call a family that loses a 26-year-old son, a 26-year-old brother, a nephew, an uncle. You lose all of that, potentially. And now you've got to go explain that to family members. And Carl Oakman had a very powerful press conference yesterday when he also said this.
Hunter chose to become an officer so he could take what he learned in life to make positive changes in a community he believes truly deserved it.
Overcoming obstacles.
So that's one guy right there that you hear from, and like many cops, they're called to serve, right? They're not doing this oftentimes because it's the thing that's going to pay them the most money. They're not doing it because it's the safest job. Now, yeah, do a lot of them like the chase? Sure. Do they like the rush they get when they're on the job? Absolutely. Talk to cops, they'll tell you that. But it's largely about a call to serve. It's largely about protecting. They enjoy it. They like it. They want to be a part of that. And unlike those of us who do basically anything else for a living, we don't have to sit there and think about whether or not we're going to come home after our shift. We don't have to sit there and think about whether or not we're going to be driven over by a lunatic when we try to stop them with stop sticks. which is a common tool used by law enforcement to basically intervene with suspects who are refusing to slow down for the police. They're used all the time. And at 1 a.m. the other night, that was not the case. Instead, what happened to Hunter is he got run over by 31-year-old Dennis Mitchell III. And now the Kansas City area has to bury another police officer. I mean, we've been doing this now too frequently for far too long over the last few years. Whether it's in North Kansas City, in Independence, KC you go around the metro, and too often over the last half decade in particular, we have had to deal with this kind of tragedy in one of our area police departments. Wyandotte County Sheriff's Office recently as well, right? We've dealt with all this. And it never gets easier. You know, it doesn't. But it also becomes a reminder that if you're out and about today and you are in a coffee shop or you're grabbing lunch later and, you know, there's a cop there, just thank them. Trust me, they'll appreciate it. I mean, don't knock your socks off. Don't, like, run up to them. Don't freak them out or anything like that. But, you know, just thank them. Trust me, they'll appreciate it. Even if they're a little startled because no one does it anymore. Even if they seem a little defensive because, frankly, you never know who's walking up to you when you're a cop these days. Sad to say. Trust me, deep down, they'll appreciate it. They'll be grateful. Even if their face doesn't show it, even if their immediate reaction doesn't seem like it, they will appreciate it. I promise you that. Because remember, a lot of these guys and gals, they're not like looking for the spotlight, right? They're not doing this so that you give them an attaboy or an attagirl. That's not why they're doing this. It might be a little awkward. But as someone who's done a bunch of these Back the Blue tours, right, all over police departments around Kansas City, you know, it's sometimes hard to get some of them to talk, right? I set up these conversations with the police chief, and he or she will be like, you know, I don't know. Not a lot of people want to talk to you. And it's nothing personal. I never take it personally. It's just not who they are. It's not in their nature. It's not something they're really comfortable doing. So I'm like, whatever. You find half a dozen people that want to talk and tell a couple of good stories. We'll be fine. It'll be okay. We'll make it work. I'll set them up for success. But I never want to make them feel uncomfortable. That's never my intended goal here. But you got to understand, obviously, the mindset for people that do this for a living and how they're waking up every single day, going to a job and thinking about something that you and I don't have to think about. Smitty is in Olathe on KCMO. Good morning, Smitty.
Hey, morning, Pete. Well, you know, I hear this morning. I listen to your show. I travel a lot, but I've been listening to you for a long time. But this just torques me. It really does. This is senseless. These guys put their life on the line, trying to protect others in our community. And they turn around, this kind of stuff happens. I know you've heard it before, but I know for a fact there's laws on the books from the late 1800s where if you extinguish a lawman, you're entitled to a proper first-class trial followed by a proper first-class hanging. I'm not saying that that's where we need to be, but I think there needs to be a higher standard set here when a lawman's trying to do his job and gets extinguished. It drives me nuts. I'll let you go, but I appreciate your show. I feel sorry. I'm praying for that family.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it, Smitty. And we'll see what Marcus Dupree has lined up there in Wyandotte County. But you will also hear this morning from Michael Ryan with the Heartlander, and they had some great reporting yesterday suggesting that this individual, there's a strong case to make. This individual had no business being out and about and arguably should have been in jail. This Dennis Mitchell, who ran over KCK police officer Hunter Simonchik. So as soon as we get more information on that, we'll bring it to you. But Michael Ryan with the Heartlander did good reporting on it. He will be here at 7:50. And then Police Chief Carl Oakman will be here at 8:05 on KCMO.
Just laid Elijah Ming to rest. I mean, that's just fresh in everybody's memory there.
Exactly.
Kansas City, Kansas.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So it is just a tragic situation right now in Wyandotte County between the Sheriff's Department and now the Police Department in KCK itself. It's 6:15 as we kick it off on a Wednesday morning on KCMO Talk Radio. So what do we know? about this November 4th ballot issue that is going to be voted on in Jackson County. Will it have any tie-in to the Chiefs and the Royals? We'll get you those details coming up on KCMO. Keatsman's up at 10, and if you didn't see it on our social media yesterday, Nikki Pace is going to be filling in for Kevin Keatsman tomorrow and Friday. Of course, a longtime radio personality, most recently with the Johnny Dare Show here in Kansas City, and that got blown out, unfortunately, in the last few months. So she was looking for something to do, and we said, you know what? Let's have her fill in for Keatsman coming up the next couple of days. So she will be here tomorrow, and I think she's going to join Kevin's show this morning as well, just after 10:30. So that'll be fun, and John's known her forever, so what could go wrong?
Yeah, she comes with the stick just like the rest of us. Sometimes you're factored into the business sale. Yeah. Worked with her Jack and at the EFM, so.
Very good.
It's good to have her around.
Well, she's going to be great. Looking forward to getting her in here. She was by yesterday to check out these palatial studios that we've got here at KCMO Talk Radio, and she was blown away. So she'll be filling in for Keatsman tomorrow and Friday, and she will be on his show coming up later this morning. In the meantime, yesterday came and went, and there will be no Chiefs or Royals vote on the ballot in Jackson County in November. The only thing on the ballot on November 4th in Jackson County is going to be an initiative to have the assessor be an elected official. Of course, right now in Jackson County, it has been an appointed position, and we know what a disaster that has been with Frank White, the county executive, and the current assessor, whose name is Gail McCann-Beatty. So Jackson County residents will go to the polls on November 4th and will vote on whether or not they should be allowed to have an assessor who is elected. So it's not voting an assessor, it's just voting on the right to vote on an assessor, if that makes sense.
Get out early. They're expecting 24 people to show up. Right? It is, because this is a weird technicality where you're like, what?
Yeah. Well,
what do I care? Or if it passes, then how do I know who to vote for?
Yes.
I'm almost like, we got the wrong person in there, but just leave the system alone.
So you don't want to vote for your assessor. You'd rather it be appointed.
I wouldn't really know how to do it, so I'd have to take other advices. I understand that the appointment hasn't been beneficial to the county right now, but that's no reason to throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Well, that's a good point. You know, if you get a better executive in there,
right.
then you may not have a totally incompetent assessor.
The person, not the position.
Yes. So that's interesting. I assume it's going to pass, but I may be wrong, because there's a lot of people who, first off, like you say, John, might be confused.
I don't think it'll pass.
And also might just say, you know what, we have a problem with her, but we may not really have a problem with the system, to your point.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest, no one will know their assessor until it's too late.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Until they screw up, no one will have any idea who the assessor is.
It's like voting for judges.
Yes.
How do I know?
Exactly.
I want to know.
Exactly.
So I vote them all out. I just go no on everybody. It takes a while, but since they didn't give me any information, I don't know. No.
That's the most John Anthony thing ever. I don't know him, so I vote no. That's
like I said, it takes a while. Dedication, man.
Oh, that's
There's
great.
20 on there sometimes.
Oh, that's so good. So that's the only thing that Jackson County residents are going to be voting on in November. There will be nothing on the Chiefs. There will be nothing on the Royals. Now, we know the Royals have really not been considering Jackson County, as far as we can tell, for quite some time. They appear to be set on either North Kansas City or down in Overland Park. Nothing in Overland Park would require a vote, as far as we know. That would be done through Star Bonds. If they go to Clay County, it's expected they would ask Clay County residents for maybe a half-penny sales tax. If they do that, that would go to the ballot. At this point, you're probably looking at an April ballot initiative, if the Royals want to go up to Clay County and put something on the ballot. For the Chiefs, if they elect to stay in Jackson County, you're probably looking at April as well. The only problem with April, potentially, is that from what I've gathered from people in Jackson County, there are multiple tax issues on the ballot in Jackson County next April, including the extension of the earnings tax in Kansas City, Missouri. That is the 1% tax that residents pay and non-residents who work in Kansas City pay to the city of Kansas City, Missouri. Now, it always passes with flying colors. I looked it up last night. The earnings tax passed in 2021. It's every 5 years. It has to go to a vote of the people. It passed in 2021 with 77% of the vote. It's never all that close because they say basically to the residents who get the vote, hey, your services are subsidized by people who work here but don't live here, and those people can't vote. So that's the pitch from Kansas City. That's why it always passes. Even though you're basically passing a 1% tax on yourself, they basically pitch it as you're subsidizing your services with those who do not live here but work here and don't get to vote in the earnings tax, which some may call, unconstitutional, but no one's ever really fought that. So here we are.
And perhaps there are those that see our couple of the moment as a revenue stream as they go through town.
Oh, it's so good. So that's something that has some people on edge and has some people wondering whether or not the Chiefs want to be on the ballot in April when there's going to be multiple tax issues on the ballot that month as well. So now we sit here and we wait. Now, as Mark brought up last night in the group chat, Mark said, well, does this mean they're going to Kansas? Because we've got these star bonds done. The offer is ending December 31st. I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying I know where they're going at this point. I'm just saying I know this much. The state of Kansas, if asked to extend the star bond offer, will no doubt in my mind acquiesce and say yes. What do they have to lose at this point? They've got nothing to lose. If the two teams come to the Chiefs and the Royals, or if the teams come to Kansas and say, hey, can we get another 4 months on the star bond offer? You really think they're saying no at this point? Come on.
Regarding the April ballot, that all depends on the results of the game Sunday, February 8th, and the participation of a team thereof, right?
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
So we may not know until February whether we want to be on the April ballot for sure.
Yeah. That's a great point. So now we sit here and we wait, and we wait, and we wait.
They're going to have to start building at some point if they want to build a new stadium.
Well, they will if they want to be up and running by 2031. You're right. Time is not on their side, which actually means if this can continues to get kicked down the road, it probably benefits Missouri when you think about it, because you're running out of time to actually build a new ballpark in some respects. They got to get moving. I think their latest start would be 2026 based on the estimates. So you're talking about probably 1 year from now. Coming up, speaking of the big news, what do we make of it from a pop culture perspective next? All right, it's happening. The engagement heard around the world yesterday. Travis Kelce got down on one knee. Although, as some are saying, the referees are saying that he didn't actually get that knee down, so does it really count? We'll have to wait and see. But Travis Kelce on one knee proposing to his girlfriend of now 2 years, Taylor Swift, and they are set to be married. Woo! Woo! And look at Mark. He's got his Kelce jersey on. He's all fired up. He's looking good.
Oh, yeah.
How are we hanging there, Mark?
Not only that, but then underneath the jersey, you got Taylor Swift, baby, under the undershirt today. Let's go. Yeah. Congrats to the happy couple.
Wow. You've been sitting on that shirt for how long waiting for this moment?
Oh, man. I've had this shirt. I got it right after the rep tour. It was a free T-shirt at the radio station, one of those things. So
have you ever worn a shirt that isn't free?
No.
Did you buy that jersey?
No, I got it from my wife's work. So, yeah, I just wear free clothes all the time.
Man.
No, I bought this hat.
Okay, you spend all your money on hats.
Yeah,
that's what you do.
I got my Chiefs shoes as a gift. So,
yeah. Everything you wear is gifted to you except for your hats. Mm-hmm. That's where you blow your clothing budget.
That's exactly right.
That's why you have a new one on every day. Well, look at you.
Gotta stay fresh on that.
You are looking good, man. That is a good look. Very good look. So I love this. Now, some of you are going to say it's because, I've fallen into Swiftie kingdom or something like that. But no, it's really much simpler. First off, I've said for a long time, Travis has to either, go or get off the pot. All right? It's time for him to make a move here. It's not like he was saving up for the old ring. All right? This wasn't a guy being like, I got to save 3 months of my paycheck to make sure I get the ring that she wants.
90-day layaway.
Yeah, exactly. He was fine. Okay? So he gave it up to 2 years, and he got engaged. And good for him for doing it. And the moral of this story is that no matter what modern-day society or social media tries to tell you or trick you into believing, the girl always goes for the guy's guy, the manly man, however you want to frame it, over the soy boys. And Taylor Swift had a history of dating soy boys. She'd date them for a while in some cases, and then she'd drop them, and then she'd write an album about them. And to her credit, she said, I probably should try something new. I should probably stop dating these singers, and I should try to find myself a 6'5", 240-pound NFL stud. And that's what she did. And when you watch Travis in some of these clips on New Heights and you watch him in these press conferences, he's just a guy's guy. It's what he is. Come in here, shoot the you-know-what, have a good time, wants to play video games, wants to drink a few beers, although apparently he didn't do a lot of that this offseason since he was getting himself back in shape. Not even his own beer, garage beer. So that's who he is. And despite what modern-day culture tries to convince you of, women still find a guy's guy attractive. In fact, oftentimes preferred. And that's what Taylor Swift learned over the last couple of years. And good for her. This is an excellent thing. And I hope that a lot of young, single people follow their lead. Even if they were tricked into this idea from Taylor over the last, decade that you don't need a man and men are no good and, you're just going to break up with them anyway. To her credit, she found her person and realized, well, that's not true. It will be good for society if millions of young Swifties are like, wait, having a man, getting engaged, getting married, having kids one day is a good thing? Yeah, oh yeah, it is. It's a great thing. It's the best thing you'll ever do. And if that is something that Swifties come out of this engagement, marriage, and dare I say, future children thinking about and believing in, man, we're going to be a lot better off as a culture. I promise you, that's what's coming. This is going to be absolutely fantastic. So I'm happy for them. I think in general, there will be a net positive here culturally for this. And, I didn't know what to make of the whole relationship early on, going back 2 years ago now. I was like, is this real? Is this something that's going to last beyond the next couple of months? And it's lasted 2 years. And after seeing it on New Heights, it seems awfully genuine. Way more genuine than I would have ever imagined going back 2 years ago. And when you listen to Taylor Swift talk on that show about the things that she actually likes doing, as she said on the show a couple of weeks ago, her hobbies are hobbies from people in like the 1800s. Sewing and baking and, doing all these things that kind of gel well with a more traditional line of thinking and traditional values. She's not scrolling through Instagram all day. In fact, she was joking about she probably has 20,000 DMs sitting in her inbox she's not interested in looking at. So you're seeing this change, and people are allowed to change. Some of you that are like, I don't like her for her politics. Oh, that's your prerogative. But I'm telling you right now, people are allowed to change. Marriage changes people. Children change people. And it would not shock me one bit if those things happen for Taylor Swift going forward as well.
It's a potential for a cultural shift here.
Big
I
time.
Think. Don't you?
I
think that's what you're alluding
totally
to.
think.
I mean, who needs Hollywood? Hollywood needs these two.
Yep. I think that you're right about that, John. That you look at this, and this has a real potential to change the culture in America. And some will say that Taylor Swift's a fraud for settling down, and she was... No. She was living her life. She was singing about her life. And now she's found her guy. She's found her dude. And that can be a very valuable message for young women and young men all over the country. And yesterday, my 6-year-old doesn't really know what's going on, but she's always been asking, when are they getting married? when are Travis and Taylor getting married? So she gets home from school yesterday, and Kate tells her, hey, Travis and Taylor are going to get married. And her face just lit up. And I was like, yeah, it's about damn time. That's what I said. But no, it was like, yeah, this is a good lesson for 35-year-old Swifties who have been convinced that the world's out to get them and they don't need no man, and 6-year-olds who see this as well, and everybody in between. John, you're on KCMO. What's up, my man?
Morning, Pete. I've been alive for like 53 years, and I haven't seen as much excitement as I've seen about this engagement as when Princess Diana and Prince Charles got married. And I think it's going to be as big or bigger than that ceremony, because there's going to be as many or more people watching this one because of the way they have, TV and internet and everything that they've got going on. So I'm wondering if they're going to televise it, or if they're going to just have a private ceremony, or if they're going to do it in Chiefs Stadium.
I saw somebody say they should do it at Arrowhead, and then they'll never be able to knock down Arrowhead and get rid of Arrowhead if Taylor and Travis get married there. That would be quite a show.
They would definitely have to put a dome over it then. But the fact is that if you're not a liberal when you're 20, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative when you're 40, you have no brain. And so having children and maturing, I could see her, leaning more conservative, because she talks the talk on the liberal side, but she walks the walk on the conservative side. Actions speak more than words to me.
And that's the sense I'm getting too. And I don't know, listen, when you're in Hollywood and you're dealing with those characters and oftentimes those clowns, it's a totally different world. You just kind of get corrupted. You get caught up in it. O'Reilly has told me that, and we've had the chance to visit. He's talked about that. He said you get into that world, and if you're not careful, you get sucked into it, and you totally lose who you are. I'm not saying that happened. I'm just telling you it's very difficult to navigate that kind of scene. And he's talked about it to me multiple times. So is that part of what happened? Does now this next phase of life change for Taylor and Travis? I don't know. But I'm thrilled for them. And I think it's great for Kansas City. And if I were a betting man, I would think they would do something that is very private and will not be televised. I mean, they're not the royal family here, right? They're not Princess Diana. They don't need to do any of that. I think it'll end up being classy, tasteful, and relatively private.
And maybe rerun on Disney+.
Yeah, listen, I'm not saying they wouldn't, have a camera person there and then run back the best of on Disney Plus or Hulu or Netflix or something like that.
See the first dance and, the daddy-daughter dance and all that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying that they wouldn't monetize this because they are good capitalists. As much as they talk a good game as liberals, they're great capitalists, okay? And God bless them for that. This is America. So I wouldn't put it past them, but I don't see any live televised weddings going on here. So Cracker Barrel announced that, of course, it's changing its logo back. And then on top of that, you have a situation where yesterday it comes out from ESPN that some of the powers that be at K-State, Iowa State, and the Big 12 Conference didn't want the Iowa State-Kansas State game to be called Farmageddon on air, which it famously has been called in recent years by fans. And basically anybody who loves that game is calling it and dubbing it Farmageddon. It's fun. Embrace who you are. Lean into it. Don't run away from it. You have great ag schools with strong programs. Don't run away.
Yeah, the loser should get Nebraska.
Yeah.
Make it a three-team, a tri-meet.
Yeah, although the winner should probably get Nebraska since they stink now, too. They should be able to play Nebraska and beat Nebraska.
Pick up a win.
Yeah, which Nebraska is going to be in town tomorrow, taking on Cincinnati at Arrowhead Stadium. So college football is coming in hot. And yesterday, Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, had one of his most relatable, on-point moments when he said this about the upcoming college football season. Here he is, little Marco, coming a long way from the state of Florida, where they love their college football, too.
This thing about people getting married on Saturdays during college football season is a scourge, Mr. President. It's divided families. I don't know if we can have an executive order on this. It's insane, but it's really difficult. There's 7 other months of the year that people can get married, so I just wanted to say that because it's very, very difficult. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, little Marco. Thank you. Fantastic. Thank you, Marco. I think Trump's like, who cares? Trump doesn't really watch college football, I don't think. He'll show up once in a while, but he's not really a college football guy. But Marco's right. Marco 2028, baby. All right, I'm all in. I know it's early, but if Marco Rubio's the guy who's going to sign an executive order to ban weddings on major college football Saturdays in the fall, I am all in with Marco Rubio on that one.
That was going to be my tirade coming up next week because I have to miss the KU Mizzou game.
You got a wedding?
Yeah, we're shooting a wedding.
Oh, you're shooting?
Me and my wife, we're doing some photography.
So you're doing a wedding. Oh, wow. That is, whoa. And that's a local wedding in Kansas City?
I know.
On the same day as the border war?
Yeah, it's terrible.
Wow.
Absolutely terrible.
Wow.
Hopefully they're not
Wildcat
right
fans.
now.
Jeez. That is
Yeah, it could
brutal.
be Wildcat fans.
Oh, my goodness, Mark. I feel for you,
I'm
man.
going to be checking my phone. I'm going to get in trouble, but that's all right.
That's okay. You deserve it. No, that is, listen, when did you guys get married?
2010. Oh, July.
July. Not interested in the year, Mark. I'm glad you're going on 15 years now, though.
Yep.
15 years. That's a big one. All right. Mine was at the end of August. Actually, my anniversary is coming up on Friday. So that'll be 11 years for us. And it was a Friday right before the start of college football, like a week before, give or take. So I tried to avoid the fall for that very reason. I know it's the best time of year, but my goodness, April, May, June, go with the summer depending on where you're at. Do not interfere with like an all-time college football Saturday in like October, okay? If you're the guy, you are getting run roughshod over if you allow that to happen. Have some respect, would you please?
Show some RESPICT.
Seen the movie Diner?
I've not.
Yeah, the fiance has to pass a test on the Baltimore Colts. And she's downstairs taking this test, and everybody's like, oh, she got the first one right. It's a big central part of the movie.
Oh, that's great.
Classic.
That's outstanding. Well, I'm all about this. I've always said, try to make sure you don't make your friends have to lose a big college football Saturday. We only get about 12 of them every fall. Don't take one away because of your selfishness. Don't do it. And Marco Rubio, you signed that executive order, man. I'll get behind you today for 2028.
I'll have my charger on me in a couple weeks so I can keep watching the game.
Yeah, you will.
On silent.
On silent, of course. Can't wait. That's going to be a good one. It's all starting really tomorrow at Arrowhead with Cincinnati and Nebraska. Go figure. It's the most painful thing that you will hear all day. I don't like 2-minute clips. Usually it's just way too long, but you have to hear this. So we're mourning the loss of an officer in KCK. There's reason to believe that the person who killed the officer should not have been out on the streets. We know this is a major problem in Jackson County. We know it's a problem all over the country. The violent crime issue in American cities has been highlighted in recent weeks, courtesy of the White House, which, of course, took over, which they're legally allowed to do, the Washington, D.C. Police Department. And they've used the National Guard, and they're going on like 2 weeks now without a homicide in that city. So now the president is saying, well, maybe we can utilize some of these strategies in other American cities. I'd love them to come to Kansas City, but, we're not a big enough target for them right now, I think. They're looking at places like Baltimore, Chicago, Philadelphia, places like that. So Chicago, we know, if you pay any attention to the news, you know about the violent crime issues in Chicago. Yesterday, their mayor, his name is Brandon Johnson. He goes on MSNBC with Morning Joe. Now, this is a show that's going to be very sympathetic to Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago. But even they're asking some very simple questions. And Brandon Johnson is unable and incapable of just admitting the obvious. No matter how many chances he's given, he can't just allow the obvious to be said. It's like, dude.
I'm curious, would you also like to get federal funding to help put 5,000 more cops on the street in Chicago? Would that help drive down crime?
Well, look, policing by itself is not the full strategy.
No, I understand that. You've talked about the other things you want, and I said those are good and important programs, but I'm asking also, would 5,000 more police officers on the street in Chicago be helpful to go along with all of those social programs that a lot of cities are engaging in and having success with?
Well, look, here's the best way I can put it, Joe, is that in the 90s when I was in high school, we had 3,000 more police officers and we had 900 people being murdered every single year in Chicago. It's just not policing alone. Of course, we want more detectives.
I know it's not policing alone, but I know it's not policing alone. You've told me everything else you want. I'm curious, and this does come down to an ideological difference between people. Do you believe that the streets of Chicago would be safer if there were more uniformed police officers on the streets of Chicago?
I believe the city of Chicago and cities across America would be safer if we actually had, affordable housing. Look,
okay,
I'm not saying
that's not the question I asked. My question is, and I just need a yes or a no, do you believe the streets of Chicago would be safer if you got all of those other extraordinary programs put back into place, which do have a history of being successful, if that's complemented by having 5,000 more cops on the streets of Chicago?
I don't believe that we should narrow it down to just police officers, Joe, is what I'm saying. That is an antiquated approach. I'm saying we've invested in detectives.
Mr. Mayor, are you hearing what I'm saying? I'm agreeing with you that all of these other social programs are extraordinarily important. I just need a yes or a no, and then this will be the last time I ask. If you get all of those other social programs that 800 million that New York City does, Los Angeles, other people do with great success, would an additional 5,000 cops on the streets in Chicago help complement those programs to make Chicago safer?
Look, we are working hard to make sure that our police department is fully supported. I don't believe that just simply putting out an arbitrary number around police officers is the answer.
There's something wrong with them.
Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, on Morning Joe. That right there is the quintessential dodge and weave from a major American city mayor. Unable, incapable of just admitting that having a robust police department will help with crime. He can't say it. I don't know if he's not allowed to say it. I don't know if his brain is so broken he can't make out those words. Mm-hmm. I don't know what is wrong with him. But my goodness, I say that to no matter who you are, I don't care how you vote. You have to be able to believe in the idea of public safety being an inherent good. And if we can't agree on that, we can't all come to that conclusion, man, we don't have a chance. Where's Emmanuel Cleaver when I need him? Gosh.
You mustard moo.
The definitional one right there. You can't help but love this answer from President Trump. So the news breaks yesterday, early afternoon, that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged. And Trump's in a cabinet meeting when this happens. So the media is there. They're doing their Q&A, and Trump gets asked about the engagement. So this is not something he had set up. This is not something he was in any way prepared for. So you got honest Donald Trump. Now, you always get honest Trump, but you get unfiltered, unprepared, just raw emotion reaction from Donald Trump on the engagement of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And he absolutely knocked it out of the park.
I have to tell you, the biggest pop culture news of the year broke while we were in this cabinet meeting. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and the world wants your reaction, sir.
Well, I wish him a lot of luck. I think he's a great player. I think he's a great guy, and I think that she's a terrific person. So I wish them a lot of luck.
On a serious note.
Whoa! Now, I know some of you heard that, and, you had steam coming out of your ears. He's a great guy. She's a terrific person. What did you do with my Donald Trump? What did you do with my Donald?
But she voted for Kamala.
I know. See, that's the real Trump right there. The stuff that gets posted on social media by Trump is oftentimes meant to draw a reaction. I think it's carefully crafted, believe it or not. I think there's a purpose to it always. But that right there was his raw reaction. I think he's a great guy and a great player. You know, he does his old Trump thing. I think she's a terrific person. And I wish them well and good luck. That's it. That's all he has to say. That would have been the moment, you know, and here's the thing. If he had said that, like let's say he said that the day after, he got asked, he knew about it, and he said that. Some people would have been like, oh, Trump was coached on that. Trump's people got to him. They told him just to wish them well as a couple. He listened to his handlers. That you're laughing, John, but you know it's true. That's what people would have said.
I was waiting for you to say, said no one ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Trump listens to advisor.
I'm telling you, though, that's what people would have claimed.
Sure. No, I know where you're going.
And the reality is, that's the real guy right there.
Mm-hmm.
He likes to rip on her and give her a hard time on social media. He likes to do it because it's fun and it gets reaction. But in the end, he's like, he's great. She's terrific. I wish him well. Good luck and Godspeed.
All caps, I hate Taylor Swift.
He
doesn't say that in person.
No. Because at his core, he's still an entertainer putting on a show when he's doing some of this stuff on social media, right? He's drawing a reaction. But then you get him in front of the cameras. You get him in that moment where he doesn't know it's coming. And that's what he says. And in the end, Trump's got the last laugh. Okay? He's got the last laugh over all of his haters. Whether it's Biden, whether it's Obama, whether it's Taylor Swift, anybody, he's got the last laugh. And that's what I want more of right there. You've got the last laugh. Own it and just say, you know what? Good people. I wish them well. Let's all move on.
If there's anything carefully crafted, it's his response, because somebody could have been pulling his leg and he's used to it. He says,
yeah.
He doesn't say, hey, great, I hope I'm invited to the wedding. He said, he's a nice guy. She's a nice girl. I wish him well.
That's it.
That's fine for anything.
Yes.
Right? Even if it isn't true.
Mm-hmm.
He's only wished him well.
Yep. That's all he's got to do there, man.
That's all you got to do.
913-408-7957. Stephen is in Kansas City. What's up, Steve?
What a day. Trump knows this is the official death of wokeism, I think, is what's going on here. I mean, this is crippling. You have Sidney Sweeney come as a Republican. The orgy dome at Burning Man just got leveled by Mother Nature. I mean, it can't be going any better. Travis had that ring for a year, apparently, according to his dad in this Cleveland interview. And she managed to get him to manipulate him, or whatever you call it. She is the ultimate trad wife. This is absolutely. I mean, this is 50% of the electorate. There are going to be a lot of confused Swifties. She doesn't do this. Taylor Swift does everything full on. She'll have 3 or 4 kids within a couple of years, probably.
Wow, that math's kind of tough, but I get your point.
Well, you know what I'm saying, that this is going to be an absolute revelation. I mean, she spent her whole life, acting like a high school girl, in her persona, and now this is going to be an incredible change in attitude for all these females to watch this happen before their eyes, that their hero is going to become the ultimate, representation of the patriarchy. I mean, this is magnificent.
It is going to break a lot of Swifties. You're right about that. But it goes to show you, Steve, that what Taylor Swift wanted, which is Travis Kelce on one knee proposing to her, and what she's gotten and what she talked about on the show, baking and sourdough bread and sewing. At its core, guys want certain things. Women want certain things. We can have other hobbies and other interests and all these other things that we do and we have passions for. But in the end, we really haven't changed that much over time, no matter what wokeism tries to convince you of otherwise.
Well, and I will add that also I think all of this stuff with her political announcements, she was getting heat from the liberals. I think it's all BS. I don't think she supported Kamala Harris. I don't think she hates Marsha Blackburn. I think this is all carefully crafted. I don't think she even cares about politics of it. That's just my personal conspiracy theory. I think it's completely a media creation. I don't think she cares all that much about it. I mean,
that's entirely possible. I mean, listen, the reality is thank you, Stephen. Great call. When you become a billionaire, I mean, a lot of it doesn't matter. That's number one. Like, it's not like she's worried about the tax rates going up or down 2%. All right. You know, it's like, and you have the ability to get caught up in some of these social issues that she obviously leaned into. I don't know what's in her heart. I mean, I take her at her word. I don't think she endorsed Kamala and voted for Trump. Like, I definitely don't think that happened. But yeah, do I think she got caught up in the Hollywood stuff? Sure. I've talked to Bill O'Reilly about it personally, and he's alluded to the fact that, you know, you meet these Hollywood people, they're in such a bubble, and Bill's obviously done that. They get so out of touch so quickly on some of this stuff. And he's like, if you're not careful, you'll get sucked in real fast. So I take him at his word when, you know, he's told me some of those things about how they operate out there. And I believe it, right? You got to be careful. But actions do speak louder than words. And I can't get over the fact that watching Taylor on that podcast a couple of weeks ago, and she's talking about, as Stephen labeled it, the trad wife stuff, which is, I don't know, expression, acronym, not an acronym, but it's traditional wife. It's kind of this thing that's happening, which is embracing what you would call traditional gender roles in a marriage. And it's become a big thing on the conservative side of the aisle with younger people, the trad wife craze. She had a lot of that when she was talking about her interests. She wasn't like, yeah, I sit on the couch, I get DoorDash delivered, and I scroll through my Instagram DMs all day, where I look at my fans tell me how great I am. She joked about not being on social media. She talked about liking baking, making Pop-Tarts, having an obsession with sourdough bread, and sewing. All right, that's not, by the way, the lifestyle that most Swifties are living right now. And when you get married, those inklings that you have are only going to continue, right? You're not going to revert back to where you were at 25, at 35 after you finally settle down. So all that's changing as well here. And that's why it's a huge cultural moment, as Stephen alluded to. And I love the shot at Burning Man. What did he call Burning Man?
Oh, it's the orgy.
Yeah, the outdoor orgy of Burning Man, which, if you didn't see, got engulfed by dust storms over the weekend. Newsweek's headline, Burning Man Orgy Dome Destroyed by Storms. Oh, gosh, what a shame. Yeah, it's been a rough few days for those who do not like tradition. We'll just put it that way. 9:14, glad to have you here on KCMO Talk Radio. Does anyone know if Ed Kelsey knows the difference between Lee Summit and Leewood yet? Has anyone checked in on Ed Kelsey on that front? No? Okay.
We need to find him. We need to let him know.
Yeah, Mark, you got to get some sleuthing done on that front, all right? Please. 913-408-7957. It's 9:15. It's great to have you here on KCMO. Kevin Keatsman, uncanceled, coming up at 10 o'clock. He's going to have on Nikki Pace today, formerly of the Johnny Dare Morning Show, because she is filling in for Kevin later this week. That's going to be a lot of fun. So do not miss that and more details on that next hour.